stay on Vanguard Life. My name is Morolake Ademiju. We begin with the top stories of the day list this morning, starting with Vanguard. Major leading story says the oil sector, far-reaching reforms coming, Iceman Mohammed vows. Tinubu's NUPRC, NMDPRA CEO's nominees assure that Senate screening will ensure investor confidence, accelerate gas development, Iceman says. Nigeria losing enormous value due to manual processes, orders. There will be strict enforcement of contract quality standard, Mohammed says, with five as the story. There's a photo story taken with the foreign minister, Chuga, with crew of detained NAF plane. Tax law, altering legislation through official gazette illegal, lawyer says. Rep constitutes committee to probe alleged alterations. Page 51 as the story. Governor Yusuf Lords Tinubu Bichi over 47 billion naira Wuju Road. Uncertainty over NAF aircraft departure to Portugal after release in Burkina Faso. Electoral Act. Reps back 2-year jail term, 5 million naira fine for vote buyers and sellers. Page 8 as the story. And lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper, Tinubu to governors, obey Supreme Court judgment, let local governments get their allocations. Page 8 as the story. Away from the Vanguard into the Punch, major leading story says, Reps probe tax law tweaks, PDP demands suspension. House raises 7-man ADHOC panel, presidency warns against sabotage, says tax law not anti-people. Page 2 as the story. Senate confirms Fanika Yode Omokri 60 orders as ambassadors. South African police shot Nigerian man dead at traffic stop. Court okays Malami's further detention by EFCC. And lastly on the Punch newspaper, MTF reps Senate disagree over crude oil benchmark. Page 20 as the story. Away from the Punch into the Nation, major leading story says Tinubu to governors obey verdict on council autonomy. The state believes will strengthen our security, says president. Iwata to rule out e-registration. Above the banner says NBA, ADF, no to death penalty for kidnapping. Page 3 as a story. Court dismisses Malami's bail application. Ex-ADF legally detained. Nigerians Air Force officers leave Burkina Faso for Portugal. And lastly on the Nation newspaper, alleged 22 billion naira fraud. Court upholds Ngige's bail with condition. You can find that story on the page 4 of the Nation newspaper. And lastly, the Guardian is leading with when pain of reform, old scars on new tax era, promises. Page 4 and 5 as the story. Fresh nationwide defection tilts 2077 balance as APC tightens grip. Six ex-PDP governors attend as Tinubu hosts APC caucus in Aso Villa. Ex-Labour Minister Ngige gets bail in alleged 2.2 billion fraud charges. Federal government resigns decision, reopened 47 federal unity colleges. Page 7 as the story. Bakin Hadi attack death toll rises to 14. And lastly on the Guardian newspaper, Yusuf comments Tinubu Bichi over 47 billion naira Uju Road in Kano. You can find our story on page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. And that's all we have for the headlines of the dailies. Join us after the short break for a brief analysis of some of the stories. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is today in the news of Vanguard Life. My name is Imran K. Ademiju. Let's move into our first story of the day. Uncertainty over NEF aircraft departure to Portugal after release in Burkina Faso. The federal government has expressed uncertainty over the current status of the 11 soldiers and aircraft detained in Burkina Faso, casting doubt on reports that they have departed from Portugal. According to the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimebi Efinfa, while the Burkinabese authorities have released the personnel and aircraft, it was unclear whether they have actually taken off from Burkina Faso. Though he confirmed that the soldiers were en route to Portugal after their release, he said that the aircraft developed technical faults shortly after their release, resulting in a delay in their departure. He, however, said that he was uncertain whether the soldiers have left Burkina Faso or not at first time, saying, "I don't know if they have left." The Nigerian soldiers were detained for more than 10 days after their C-130 aircraft made an emergency landing at Boao-Dioulasso, citing technical failure while on a ferry mission to Portugal. Burkinabe's authorities, however, disagree, alleging that the aircraft violated its airspace by entering without authorization. The unauthorized landing sparked a diplomatic row, with the alliance of Sahel states, made up of Burkina Faso and its neighbors, Mali and Niger. In a statement, AES characterized it as an unfriendly act and said member state respective air forces had been put on maximum alert and authorized to neutralize any aircraft found to violate the Confederation airspace. And that's all we have for our first story. Now let's move into our second story of the day. Kidnapping. Kidnapping by so far that's in Germany. Stakeholders like ex-NU envoy Uchenna, the National Human Rights Commission, the Nigerian Financial Unit, the Nigerian Bar Association, the Federation of Women Lawyers, and the DSS, among others, were against it. They all expressed principled and evidence-based reservations about the proposed expansion of death penalty, particularly as a response to kidnapping and related violent crimes. According to the NHRC, before any bill is passed into law by the legislative bodies at the federal or state level, it must first undergo and successfully pass a Human Rights Impact Assessment Test and Prohibition Act. This means that the proposed legislation must improve the general enjoyment of the human rights of Nigerians and must be in alignment with internationally recognized human rights norms and best practices. This is a general examination of the above referred bill to ensure that it complies with the highest